And I'm going to go ahead and start our recording. Okay. All right, so the first thing that I would like to go over is talking about that friends list. Like we said, hopefully many or most of you have printed out your friends list. If you're not sure how to do that, you're going to go into the little drop-down arrow on your Facebook. You're going to click settings, and then there's going to be a spot that says download data, and you can do it that way. Once you download it, you have to go into a folder to find your friends, because it will literally download every single piece of data in your Facebook history, messages, friends, everything. So you do need to go in and find the friends section, and then you just print it. And what I did was I highlighted and copied all of mine and put it into a Google spreadsheet. That way I have it if I want to use it electronically, but I also then printed a paper copy of that spreadsheet. So as I go through and do some of these objectives that we'll talk about, I'm able to write it down so that when I go back, I can see maybe when I messaged someone or what we talked about, etc. The other nice thing about the friends list, if you do print it, it shares not only their full name, but also when you became friends. So I found that helpful just when it comes to maybe somebody that I haven't talked to in a long time, or I don't recognize their name, and seeing, when we became friends and figuring out sort of who that person is and how I know them that way. So that is the friends list, and let's talk about how to use it. I know there are people on this Zoom that know much more than I do with how to intentionally use this. So if you have anything to add, please feel free. The first way that I've been using it is to message people and the opportunity to either a few things, to either post for me, or be a hair model or a cleanse model, things like that, or just messaging them as follow-up. So I might one day choose a page or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, however much time I have, and go through and message every single one of those people something. It doesn't have to be spammy. It doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be, that same message over and over and over, because Facebook would then take that as spam. But what you want to do is message each person, and maybe you switch it up a little bit, maybe according to what you think their needs are, what their timeline shows that they might be struggling with, or whatnot, that you tailor your message to that. So I might look at a timeline for someone and think, oh, maybe they would be a great hair model. And then someone else, maybe they already have gorgeous hair and skin and nails, and maybe they might be interested in the cleanse, or maybe they might be interested in doing a referral or something like that, or maybe I'm just checking in. And that brings us to the second way to use this. Jessie posted, I believe it was yesterday, I think, she posted that advice on how to use the friends list just to increase engagement and to help your algorithm. And when we're talking about algorithm, for those of you that are newer to the business, that's just who sees your stuff on Facebook. So Facebook has an algorithm. The better your algorithm, the more people see the posts that you make. Things that increase that visibility basically are messaging, commenting, liking, just interaction between you and anybody on your friends list. So Jessie posted something about using it in terms of just interacting. So she said, pick a letter, or, for those of you that have it printed, pick a page, whatever you'd like to do. And then go through those people one by one and really intentionally look at their pages. Yes, it takes time. Yes, you're going to want to scale how many you do according to how much time you have. But what I found today when I was working on this was that I was getting a lot more feedback and responses and interactions. Even though it was taking me more time, I still was getting more responses because they were personal and intentional. And I think people can read that and they see through it if it's not. So she suggested going to people's pages. If you have something to message them about, like for instance, I had a friend on my Facebook that her daughter's been really sick. A couple weeks ago, she had the flu, she had strep. So instead of commenting on her post, I sent her a message. You know, how's your family? I know you've been feeling sick. How's your daughter? Is she better? This and that. And then maybe I go to another person and, I don't really have something to message them. I don't know them. They're new. Then I might just comment on one of their posts. Try and comment. Liking is great, but commenting is better. Another thing with comments are if you're commenting on someone's thing, the objective is to get them to interact with you. So something that maybe they could respond to, or a question that they could answer. Oh my gosh, that's an adorable sweater. Where did you get it? Or, oh, I've always wanted to try this. Was this your first time? Or whatever. How old is your daughter? She's so cute. So that way those people you're creating a relationship through interaction, and you're starting by planting those seeds of friendship. Okay. Another suggestion she made was and I know you all can read this, but just to kind of clarify, she said to remove people who are spammy or who you wouldn't want on your page. That's something that I found interesting. And at first I thought, well, I hope I don't have anybody like that, but you probably do. I know I do. When I was going through, I found a few that I would not want on my team, or I would not want in my circle necessarily. So instead of just unfriending them, I messaged them. Asking about the referrals. And I haven't gotten a response on that yet, but I'm hoping that if I get a response that might lend to other audience. And then I've made a note on my list that I sent that message, and I'll check back. And in a week or so, if they haven't responded, then I'll just delete them. That way, kind of clean up the friends list, really be intentional about who's on your timeline, who you want to be spending your time interacting with. Another thing that you would want to do if you were doing this interaction piece is just to really focus on creating the friendships and the relationships. Not mentioning it works at all. I know sometimes that's hard because when we sit down to work, we want to be productive. We want to have income producing activities, which is super important, but it doesn't necessarily mean that planting seeds isn't income producing. It is going to create a stronger foundation for your business. And I just, working more and more into this, I'm noticing and realizing how important it is. And I wish I realized that sooner. The last tip, that she gives is to add people from their friends list. So be sure you're adding people each day. This just grows our market. We're in network marketing, so we have to keep growing that network each day. Do you have any questions for me so far? I don't think I saw anything in the chat. Okay, the second thing that I wanted to talk about with this is going through and messaging people from your friends list and complimenting them. So not only are we interacting, asking questions, but remember to keep it positive. Remember that people love we all love to be complimented. So if you can figure out something that you admire, like, or want to encourage about the person, it's always nice to be able to just, in a very simple way, just compliment them or encourage them, building people up, and then make the conversation about them. So it's very easy, I think, to turn the conversation to ourselves a lot of the time. But if we turn it to them, then you're going to learn about them. And if you're paying attention to what they say, you might eventually discover a problem that they might have that you can solve with the business or the products. So that is all very important. Okay, well, if no one has questions, I'll just jump right into our next piece, which is going to be going into some of the apps. The apps that some of us have used. I know I had quite a few people recently ask what apps we use for wording or for pictures or for filters or this and that. So I just thought that I would go over a few of those since we do have a lot of new teammates. The first one that I wanted to cover was PixArt. Okay, so I'm going to try and put it up here. I don't know if you can see. See that P right there, PixArt? That's one of the most useful apps I've found. Or I found it to be one of the most useful apps. Inside of this app, when you open it, on the very bottom, there's a plus sign, and that's where you're going to access all the tools. Okay, so with this app, you can edit pictures, make a collage, draw on them. Usually I'm editing pictures using this app, but sometimes using the collage. So then I would just choose a picture. And once you get your picture, ooh, there's an ad. Once you get your picture pulled up, on the very bottom, you'll see all the different options of things that you can do to your pictures. So things like tools, which is cropping, if you want to cut off the sides, if you want to stretch something out, if you want to enhance it, resize it, you can shape, crop it, etc. There's effects. Effects are sort of like similar to filters. It changes the look of the background. Let me cancel, go back. You can add a sticker. Okay, so those are just some of the stickers that I might have tried to use or used in the past, but you can go and you can search all through the stickers that they have and add them to the pictures almost like a layer. So if I were to choose one of these stickers, it would just go right onto my baby's face. Go onto your picture. You can resize it. You can turn it. And that just enhances your picture. When you have something on it, it draws attention. Okay, so let me cancel that out. You can also, cut things out. You can add text. You can add a photo in the photo. So this is one that I find very helpful. I know many people add photos when you get a loyal customer or a distributor. You take a picture of your email and you can add it in. But maybe I just want to add a picture inside of the picture. I choose the picture that I want, and then it lays it sort of as another layer on top. So you can't really see because it's baby and baby, but you can resize it, move it, all that. You can also change the transparency of it. So that's a little bit about that app. Again, that's PixArt. So I'm going to show it one more time. Okay, I did have someone ask me the other day what text apps we use for pictures or creating the pictures with the text on them. A few of them are PixArt is one. A lot of people use Font Candy. There's also, there are a ton. There's Photofy. And I can write this in the chat here in a minute. Let's see, there's word swag. So I'm just going to show a little picture of my screen. There's PixArt. There's word swag. This Rana does really neat lettering. Font Candy. Photofy is right here. That also does some neat things to your pictures. Some of these are free apps, and some of them you have to pay anywhere between like 99 cents and $3 to $4. It's completely up to you whether you use apps that you have to pay for or apps that are free. Some of the fancier options on some of them might be something that you have to add on. So let's talk about the reason for these apps. When you're scrolling on Facebook, so if I go to my timeline and I'm just scrolling, you know, I'm in bed, I'm scrolling, whatever. What is going to make you or that person stop and scroll? Ugh. Is it raw chicken? Is it, you know, this made me stop because it's a video. It was, yeah. So it's a video. You know, when you see movement, your eyes see movement, they tend to stop. Contrasting colors. Okay, so seeing the black and the white draws your eyes in. If I'm scrolling, again, another video catches my eye. So a good thing to do is maybe for just a moment to scroll through your Facebook, just for a moment, don't get caught up in it, but just to see what catches your eye, because then those apps can help you create that. One of the things that catches my eye is if there's a big like word over a picture. You know, if somebody has a picture of their kids and it has some big word or saying, I've noticed that I have to read what that's about for some reason. And those apps can help you do that. You can add text over pictures. You can add text to just plain backgrounds and post that, similar to what we do with the team training Zoom ID. So if you go into WordSwag is one of my favorites. For example, up on the top, there's camera roll. So you can choose a picture from your camera roll and add words over it. Or there are all of these backgrounds that you can add words to. Okay, so if I'm just going to add words to a background, I have been trying to go more simple. So let's just do a black background. It allows you to crop it into any size you want. And then you double tap, if it lets me, my broken screen. You double tap and then it will allow you to write whatever you'd like. So if I'm going to write, say, team training, I save and close, and then the words go onto the screen. Down here, I can choose different styles. So the way that it looks, the way that it's typed or written, or I can choose different colors. Okay, so that's a little bit of stuff about this app, but really you just have to get in there and play around with it. Another one is Font Candy. So for example, I was trying to do an interaction post and we're creating a headboard for our bed. So I put 4 examples up and I wanted people to tell me which style they liked the best to help us decide. And so I wanted to put numbers. And so I just added numbers over these pictures. So that's another thing you can use these apps for. I tried to use a color that you know, might stand out. This one wasn't very successful. I don't know if y'all can tell. Those numbers are hard to see. So when you're scrolling, that's not really going to catch your attention. But the big thing about these apps is to use it to enhance your pictures, to enhance the clarity, to draw people's attention. If you're going to use filters, you know, using them to create contrast. Okay, so our eyes are drawn to red, black, and white and contrasting colors. So like a really light color next to a really dark color. That's just how our eyes are. That's why they say don't drive a red car. I guess our eyes are drawn to red, so police officers see them more. But I don't know how true that is. Anyway, those types of things you want to be thinking about with your pictures, because if I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see something contrasting, I'm going to stop. So if you're using a filter, try and make it something that is going to define your face or define whatever it is you're looking at. Pick Tap Go is Jessie's favorite for the iPhone to brighten up pictures. Yes, absolutely. She said you can add multiple layers. That's awesome. So Pick Tap Go she's talking about looks like this. It's the yellow one that looks sort of like an alien smiley face. I don't know what that is. So Pick Tap Go creates the filters. You can do many layers. So if I pick a picture here and I say edit, then I'm going to be able to scroll down and do different filters. And if I choose one, I can then do another one, different one or the same one over it. And I can do multiple layers. Okay, so that will enhance your pictures. How do people add the brief videos that replay over and over? Oh, that's a good question. So for example, shaking a bottle of greens, if I have greens in here, and I don't know if any of you have seen the videos where like they shake it and then the video repeats and they shake it and the video repeats. That's actually called, let me find it, right up here. It's called Boomerang, and it's an app that you can, I think I've asked this from someone else before, so that's a great question. I had the same one. So then when you go into it, you can create your video, and it's a really short video. So if I create a video of myself, oh goodness, I'm going to hold it down. Yeah, so I held it down, and if you can see, I'm saying something and it's just repeating it over and over. That might be good for something like if your kid's jumping into a pool, or like Amanda said, you're shaking up greens, or you're jumping in the air and it goes over and over. That's huge for eye catching. Great question. So, any questions about those apps? Just looking through to make sure that I didn't forget any apps that might be helpful.
Hey, Lindsay, do you use any apps like for Instagram?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, what?
Do you use any apps? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Do you use any apps like for Instagram, like to follow or unfollow people?
Oh yeah, great question. So I use, I don't know if it's old school now or not, but I'm trying to get back into Instagram. I dabbled in it a little bit. I didn't feel confident, so I stopped, which I feel is a huge mistake. So now I'm going back, and I really want to relearn how to work Instagram intentionally. So I'm actually using, I don't know if you use that, Brittany, the Followers app.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of them. I guess that's kind of like an older app. but where you can see who, you know, unfollow or follow people. And then I know, Brittany, you said there was that new one that would almost do it for yourself.
There's, hang on, I'm looking backwards. There's Cleaner, which is right there.
Cleaner.
And that's like that does the same thing basically as followers.
Okay.
So whenever you open it up, it looks like this.
Oh, neat.
I'll just walk you through it really fast.
Awesome.
Hang on, it's loading. Okay, so and it'll look like this whenever you first load it or whatever. And then if you just hit this quick select, and then hit advanced quick search, you can actually, it gives you different like ways to or different reasons to unfollow. So you've got non-followers, ghost followers, people that have been inactive. So like they're inactive users. If they haven't posted in the last 90 days, it'll like select them. And it says select users without profile picture. So it's just another way, you know, to gives you more options basically. So I know that's one of the newer unfollowing apps. And you can actually, like, whenever you select them, you can actually hit actions, and you can say unfollow, and then it'll say either start now, local queue, or cloud queue. And it actually unfollows like if you hit add to cloud queue, it like stores it in the cloud, and it unfollows one every like 40 seconds or something like that. So you don't have to keep like on followers. You have to actually touch the button. This does it in the background, and you don't have to go back and do that.
That's amazing. Because I've literally been going back to followers like every hour because I'm trying to get my numbers even right now.
So this is a whole lot easier than that. And then the app that kind of goes right with it, that I use to follow new people, called Captivate, and it's the same colors as the Cleaner app. So whenever you're on here, you can either click discover, and that's kind of like people that would show up if you were on Instagram and you hit the search bar, like how it has the Explorer or whatever. Or you can click the search, and you can either search a user or hit options, and you can search tags. So you can search a hashtag. So let's just say I'll just do like boy mom. Oh, not boy mom, boy. There we go. And then if you click it, it'll show you all of the, you know, people that have posted and used the hashtag boy mom. But if you find somewhere, let me find one that's a little bit older that has a lot of likes on it. Okay, so we're just going to use this one. So if you click on 3 likes, like if you click on the likes, it shows you who likes it. So you can do quick select all, and follow people that way. You can follow people that have liked somebody's post. You can follow people that have commented on somebody's post. You know, but it'll like mass select, and it's a lot like Cleaner, where you can add it to the cloud so that it follows people in the background, and you don't have to sit there and go back every hour and add more people. So awesome. I really, really like, and now I want to say, I know I paid for these. It was a couple of dollars, not a whole lot, but it saved a hell of a lot of time, so it was worth it for me.
Absolutely.
So those are just 2 that I use.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. So that's about all I have for tonight. I know that you're all busy people, and so I don't want to keep you longer than we need to, but if you have any questions, please throw them up. We'd be happy to help with them. And again, if you're working through something and you have questions, and you know, for myself or for Brittany or your upline or Jesse, you know, we are all always willing to help. So don't hesitate to reach out. make some noise, let us know that you're there and working so that we can help you. Yeah, so that's about all I have for tonight. If anybody else has anything, feel free. Otherwise, we will say goodbye. Thank you all for getting on and for all of the, oops, almost just clicked out of you, and for all of you taking the time out. So have a great night, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Lindsay.